Well everyone, we've done it. We've finally reached 500 subscribers. I hope you're prepared for one of the roughest runs I've ever done. You've earned it. Welcome to the Potato Only Run. Potatoes. Cheap, high in starch, and bad for your blood pressure in large quantities, these little bastards are the bane of my salty existence. I've been haunted by these pieces of throwable compost since the beginning of the channel, where I jokingly remarked that one day I'd end up beating the game with the damn things. Well, today's as good a day as any. Now, some of you might never have used a potato in Sodden Sanctuary before, and why would you? So let me explain exactly what it is you're all asking of me. First off, what are they? Well, in Sodden Sanctuary, potatoes are a random consumable drop from enemies. When you use them, you throw them, not eat them. And when you throw them at enemies, it does some blunt damage. And by some damage, I actually mean almost no damage at all. Throwing a potato at an enemy, you'll get about 1 damage. Actually, I should clarify, throwing a potato at a zombie, the easiest enemy in the game, will get you about 1 damage. Which means throwing a potato at any other enemy would also get you about 1 damage. But surely things get better as the game goes on, right? No. No, they don't. Potatoes are unaffected by almost everything. Got rings that give you extra damage? Doesn't affect potatoes. Got an awesome charm? Won't affect potatoes. Golden wine? Yeah, okay kid, try again next time. Blood pots from the Order of the Betrayer? Actually, probably would help, but guess what does damage on impact and therefore invalidates the run? The only thing that affects potato damage at all is your dexterity. And at the soft cap of 50 dex, your potato damage will go from that measly 1 damage to a whopping, powerful, I'll have what she's having, 14. Oh, and by the way, that's against enemies that are weak to blunt damage. Anything else with resistance, we're talking more like 3. 4 if you're lucky. So how exactly does one get enough potatoes to do a potato-only run? Well, it's simple, really. You can. You can start as the chef class, sure, and get 14 to start with. But after that, the only way to get potatoes is as a random, low-chance drop from like 8 different types of enemies, all of which only drop 1 potato, and all of which would take more than 1 potato to kill. So you can't, quite literally can't, get enough potatoes to do a potato-only run. So, rather than do that, we're gonna just play the game normally up to New Game Plus 7. I've never done that before, so this should be... hold on a second, I'm getting a call.
Lemon?
Who is this?
It's Zephyr in research and development.
Who?
Look, you remember that potato problem you asked about? Well, I think we figured it out. If you can come down to the lab, I think we can...
Huh. Must have been a wrong number. So anyway, let's get this run started, shall we? First, we'll pick a name. Nothing fancy today, I'm feeling pretty bland. For our class, we'll pick the Cleric, because they're awesome. And then we'll beat up the Unspeakable Deep, because we're awesome. And after that, we'll take Devar's Light as our creed, get the key, and open up the first sanctuary. After that, we... Wait. Zeph? Is that you?
Yeah!
Who let you out of R&D? Could have swore I locked the door.
Oh, you did. But I brought you something.
Look, bud, I already told you that we don't need it. Ugh, my head. What? Is this the beginning of the game again? Alright, guess we'll just start over. That was weird. So, we pick our name, again, and then we pick our... what? What am I wearing? There must be some sort of graphical glitch or something. I'll just get everything else put together here and... Wait, my class is Potato? Oh god. Let's just start the game. Maybe this is all just a quick joke. Oh, sweet Jesus, no. So, apparently, Zephyr made me a mod, where I start with potato armor and 1,000 potatoes. Normally I wouldn't even be able to move. The potato armor is heavy and requires tier 3 heavy armor to even use, which I obviously don't have. However, Zephyr thought of that and has added a cosmetic slot to the game. So while I'm actually running around naked, I can still look like a potato tuber. Great. Well, at least we aren't going to have to walk through the entire intro. Let's get this over with. Maybe things get back to normal once we get to the mainland. 3 damage. On a boss that is weak to blunt damage. See, this is exactly what I was worried about. Approximately 7 minutes and 310 potatoes later, we finally beat the boss. Please let things go back to normal. Please let things go back to normal. Ah, shit. Well, it was a slim chance, but I was still hopeful. Anyway, let's get our creed.
Well, hello there, potato. You're just a little tater tot washed ashore with the rest of us.
Wait a minute. Let's do dialogue. What's happening here?
There's an empty sanctuary up the beach. You can claim it for the all-seeing God. Tell me, do you believe in starch after death?
Yes, I guess?
Most men follow the 3 deities, the king, the knight, and the judge. These men are fools, following dead icons of the past. You know better, don't you?
Yeah, I know better.
Ah, I thought as much. Your eyes are wide, and your starch thick. Here, take this icon. Perhaps it will open your eyes further.
I don't think I want my eyes open any further. Let's get out of... Wait, what did he just give me? An all-seeing potato? Oh, Jesus, that's unnerving as hell. Alright, we're not going to worry about this right now. Let's just get out of here. Wait a minute. Am I going to... The potato is an icon. The tato is an icon. Oh, Jesus, this is an entire potato creed, isn't it? Alright, well, we might as well do what little we can to increase our damage. I dump into dexterity, then run up to the roof to get a stone leader? That's not supposed to be there. I feel like I'm supposed to use this.
What offering do you bring to the all-seeing potato?
Oh, good. You have new dialogue now, too. Alright, obviously this is here for a reason. Let's see what you need. Zombo ears? Yeah, okay. Give me a second. Alright, I got your ears. Now what are you... Oh, dear God.
Do you understand now, Tater Tot? This is your fate, and you will not escape it.
Yeah, no, I see that. Thank you. So, not only is my health pot changed to potato juice, gross, but every time I sit at the sanctuary, my potatoes replenish. They're a creed item now, recharging every time I pray to my potato god. So that's it. I don't have any real excuse anymore. I can officially, technically, possibly beat the game with potatoes. This is gonna suck. Doing my best to skip everything, I rush to the Sodden Knight. He's one of the few bosses that are weak to blunt damage, and after leveling up, it looks like my potato damage is 8. Takes about 50 potatoes to kill him. Not terrible, considering how easy it is to avoid his attacks when you keep him at a distance. But remind yourself that overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer. This boss is weak to potatoes, and has the smallest boss health pool in the game. And it still took 50 tater tots to get the job done. Things are not going to get better. We head on down to the village, and you know what? Let's just see what the Scarecrow has to say.
Curiosity. What creature persists in the face of such suffocating despair?
Huh. Calling me names and dropping hard truths. Alright. Well, let's press on. The Queen of Smiles isn't that hard either, thankfully. Her moveset is easy to predict and dodge, so as long as I'm paying attention, we'll be fine. That said, we're down to 3 damage, which means it takes about 175 potatoes before she finally falls. Holy hell. With the damage being that bad, I'm just going to keep pressing forward to the Cyclops. Oh, sweet mother of pearl, 2 damage. For the record, whenever I beat a boss, I swear I'm running right to the sanctuary and leveling up dex as hard as I can. The scaling is just that bad. Anyway, let's skip ahead a little bit here with this fight. After all, the whole point is that I suffer so that you don't have to. About 8 minutes later, and 360 potatoes lighter, and it goes down. At least it was the first try. Up next is the Alchemist. I decided to skip him the first go-around in hopes that gaining a few levels would increase my damage against him, and therefore make his second phase a little bit more bearable. But, yeah, 4 damage. I guess in all honesty, that's not terrible, and the fact that I have ranged attacks really does help. The main problem, unfortunately, is that my defense is non-existent, and his attacks really stack up if you can't beat him down quickly. The bottom layer of this arena becomes a gooey death trap, since potato damage against slimes is worthless. After a try or two, 150 potatoes, and 2.5 minutes of repeatedly pressing the X button, he goes down. False Jester time. Looks like we're dealing with about 3.5 damage, which is awful, and the Jester is not having it. I always forget how aggressive he can be when you aren't dealing enough damage. That said, his moveset is pretty predictable. The main issue with this fight is that it's now a battle of attrition. If I remain focused and refrain from getting too greedy, he goes down steadily enough after taking 220 potatoes to the face. We collect our first brand and head to the Castle of Storms. As you can see, our damage is, well, it's alright. Against blunt weak enemies like this armor guardian here, we can actually whittle them down and grind them if we need to. I don't plan on doing too much grinding if I can help it. This run is going to take long enough as it is, but I'll store that information away for later, I suppose. On to the worm. This one's actually not bad. The worm is weak to our tato damage, so that helps, and having some range here is actually really nice. Every time he takes flight, we can get some solid DPS in. After 160 tater tots and a few minutes, the worm goes down on the first try. I'll have more of that, please. Oh, you again. What do you want?
It persists.
Yeah?
Does it wish to know me?
No. I really don't.
It will know me in time.
Anyway, we go and level up our dex to 33. More than halfway there. If only that meant something. Up next is the Tree of Men, and here's where we hit our first wall. The Tree of Men has 3 phases. The first involves killing all these hanged men. As you can see, the hanged men don't appear to be allergic to potatoes, which is an issue. Hanging out at the bottom of the arena is pretty rough, and hopping around trying to dodge everything happening in the arena is also pretty awful. I tried a few times, but I can't really seem to make any headway. You know what? Let's come back to this. Going the other way, we bump into the Inquisitor. He's not terrible, but definitely not as easy as I would have hoped. As long as we... Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize we were allowed to tag in partners. No, that's fine. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. In all honesty, this isn't too rough. His potato peelers do a lot of damage, so getting hit is less than ideal. And our damage is pretty abysmal. But at least he's easy enough to avoid if we keep him at range. Which we do. To great effect. 360 hash browns later, and we've done it. The lamb, however, is a different story entirely. 300 potatoes in, and I've barely made a dent. That's maybe, what, 25% of its health? I can't. I just can't. Grinding would be better than this. After a short while, who am I kidding, it took forever, I get to 49 dex. Let's round that out real quick. Okay, 50 dex. That's it. That's all you get from me. Do you hear me, you little fuck? Alright, back to the tree. Let's see if that's any better. I can't tell. I've legitimately forgotten how bad my damage was and cannot fucking tell. I'm losing my mind! Whether or not the damage is actually any better, at this point, it makes no difference. We've hit the cap. There's nothing more we can do to make our damage any better, and we have to work with what we've got. Thinking outside the box a bit, I play around with the arena and eventually find this little nook here. It's rare for the hanged men to be able to hit me, while still allowing me to be able to reach a majority of them. While I still die a few times getting used to it, this strategy is definitely more consistent, which is important for a run like this. The head itself is actually weak to blunt damage, so that's a nice change of pace. A little difficult to hit though, especially with everything going on. Alright, phase 3. Ow. Okay, that's alright. We did it once before, we can do it again. Unless the game starts to play unfair. Seriously though, did you see that? I think the game is legitimately fucking with me. I'm 99% certain that the timing on these flamethrowers is changing mid-fight. What the actual hell? I am so tired of being fried, roasted, baked, sauteed, boiled, mashed, stuck in a stew. Finally, this monstrosity goes down. It doesn't even take that many potatoes in comparison. Why did this take me so long? After that whole debacle, I decide to give in to the starch and get 2 more potato juices. More juice means less restarts, and considering how bad things are getting, I'll need all the juice I can get. Alright, time for the husk.
God damn it, Tony! Would you kindly fuck off? Looking good, meatbag!
The husk isn't terrible, but the damage is. Once again, it's a matter of knowing his timings and maintaining calm. So long as I'm calm, I can defeat any...
Bullshit! Absolute bullshit! That's it. I'm taking a break.
Okay. Refocused, revitalized. Let's go again. Come on. Come on. Gotcha. We're back, baby. And it only took 380 potatoes and 8 minutes of intense concentration to do it. Let's move on to the stench. He's not so bad, right? So, minions are going to be a thing. Great. And the damage is also still terrible. Double great. That said, though, he's really not so bad. He attacks slow, he's he's easily damaged, and the minions...
Are a pain in my ass.
Okay, let's buy some antidotes. I don't want to do that again. No, I said I didn't want to do that again. Honestly, this fight isn't that bad. It kind of feels like I'm in a movie, to be honest. You know the scene. The one where the protagonist goes up against the big bad, and all his minions form a circle, pushing the protagonist back into the fight every time he gets too close. Cool feeling. Bad time. Oh god, I think I've been fighting with this enemy too long. I can literally tell if he's gonna barf up a minion or explode now. And I've started to dodge the damn poison cloud. If I ever struggle with Salt and Sanctuary again after this run, you all know I've gone senile and that I need someone to call my doctor. Alright, there we go. Finally. Now we... Oh. This wasn't in the movie.
This wasn't in the movie. You're all supposed to give up once I beat...
Ahem. Anyway, now that we have our red shift brand and our mossy ring, let's move on. Oh god, you again. Well, our build is done. What's the new damage? 1 more than before. That's it, huh? Cool. Well, another fun boss where I need to intensely concentrate for 10 minutes straight. I wasn't made for this. It was about here in the run that I broke. I fought this asshole so many times, over and over again. I was so close, only to have my victory snatched out from under me by bullshit, like a ghost who just happened to walk into the arena, or my controller giving out on me and deciding that today's the day that the roll button stops working. So many issues, so much time, so many sleepless mornings spent in frustration. And then, it clicked. I don't know what changed. Maybe nothing did, but it clicked. The hitboxes were all there in front of me, the patterns all laid bare. There was nothing I couldn't dodge, nothing I didn't know the timing of. 13 minutes, 650 potatoes. I think I'm beginning to see. So yeah, 11 more to go. Up to the Dried King. After the trials I just went through, this is nothing. 11 damage? My god, that's DPS fit for a king. 275 taters later, and I kill him on the first try. Let's move on to a couple of the easier bosses, shall we? Let's skip on down to Coastrock. 14 damage? This only takes a second. And it does. About 120 of them, in fact. The only trouble I had with this fight is the fact that I've never actually had to dodge his attacks before. It takes a minute to remember how to do so, but once I do, it's over. 100 potatoes. Another first try. The same thing happens with Ronan Cran. I know his moves pretty well, and he really has no defense against range attacks. I mean, he does, he's not taking full damage or anything, but his AI simply doesn't know what to do with me. It tries to get a couple flips in, but my Tatos knock him out of the air each time, and every time he tries to buff, it's just ample opportunity for me to get a solid 70 or 80 damage on him. After an embarrassing 4 minutes and 275 tots, put him down. Moving on to the Prince, Moving on to the Coveted, we keep our momentum going. This boss isn't so bad, what with it being weak to potatoes. All I need to do is, god damn it! Alright, breathe. We're almost there. The second attempt goes smoother. So long as I'm patient, I can easily position myself so that the ghosts aren't able to reach me with their attacks. They occasionally get off a hit, but it's not enough to stop me. 250 hash later, and we're done. Okay, I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place now. I've got the witch up ahead and the prince behind. I'm gonna go for the prince. At least he might have a pattern we can abuse. After a little testing, I'm still not able to really see the hole in his attack patterns. I can almost dodge his belly flop every time, but I need it to be consistent if I'm gonna make it out alive. He has too much health for me to simply get lucky. After several attempts, I still have no idea how to consistently manipulate his constant flopping. So I switch strategies. His up-close attacks are pretty easy to dodge, and so long as I don't fall asleep at the wheel, I can get him to phase 2 with no problem. It's just slower, since my DPS isn't as high. Phase 2 is tricky, since he starts to delay a couple attacks in hopes of getting to use his ground swipe, and those stomps are a little difficult to work around, since if you're too far away after he's done, he immediately starts belly flopping again. I hug him as hard as I can, and stick to him like glue, but I'll be damned if my focus is slip. Fuck you. Fuck you. 15 minutes. I've been at that single attempt for 15 minutes, and right at the end he has the gall to kill me. Fuck! This is the worst it will ever be. Prince has the most blunt defense and the most health of any boss in the game. If I can make it through him, I can make it through anything. So instead, we go after Maul. She's not bad, and it's nice to see some actual progress on a health bar after all that. She is able to take me out once, but her moves aren't overly difficult to dodge. I just need a little more luck and I'll be good to go. Okay, she has a third phase. I feel like I knew that, but also I didn't know that. That complicates things a bit. Come on. Come on.
Alright, that's it. Come on, you Nightmare Before Christmas Jack Skeleton looking mother bitch, fire and sky, ass hat, rickety old piece of shit!
Lemon, What's going on? I heard yelling.
Ah! Ah!
Oh god, what's happening to me? I need to finish this run. Fast. Only one way to go now. 4 damage. Oh god. Oh my god.
Oh my god!
Wait. Wait. I see it. I can see it. There's a pattern. Sweet, merciful, tap-dancing chip factory. It's so obvious. How didn't I see this before? It's her height. She attacks based on her height. High up and she's going to use the laser or the swarm. Just above your head and it's always a machine gun. Level with the ground and it's always melee with an additional swarm attack when she reaches half health. I could see it all.
Is that what it means?
Is this what the potato wants me to know? To learn? To see? We need to press on. The Unskinned and the Architect are just as bad as the Witch. 4 damage for each of them, but their health pools are about half as big. Running away from them and firing away at their health works great, but they keep deflecting for one another, spreading the damage around, and making it really hard to get rid of one of them at a time. That said, the range of the potatoes and their limited movesets makes it so that so long as I'm careful about my position and switch as quickly as I can from one end of the arena to the other, I can outmaneuver them. After multiple tests, I find that I can lure the Unskinned away from the Architect pretty consistently. This gives him some time to take some damage on his slow waltz over to me, and it also gives any bubbles the Architect has made time to despawn before I head back to that side of the room.
Slowly, gently. This is how a life is taken.
After the Unskinned falls, it's not much of a challenge to dodge the Architect's attacks. I continue my strategy of moving from one end to the other, beating her with potatoes whenever I get the chance. Eventually, after almost 13 minutes of sweaty palms and aching fingers, she goes down. 3 bosses left. Deciding that fighting against the Forgotten Friends would be more of the same, I decide to give Scourge a try. 3 damage, 2500 health. My brain is a little starched at the moment, but that comes out to be about 833 potatoes. We're in for another long one. Let's try the 3. The Forgotten King, add friends, goes as you'd expect. Much like the Unskinned and the Architect, they perform their best when they can attack you from all sides. However, if you can manage to run from one side of the arena to the other, only the Judge can really keep up. And unlike the Architect, his attacks are much more predictable. Not only this, but his friends are actually weak to blunt damage, making what would have been a grueling slog slightly less unbearable. 10 minutes of pain and suffering later, and it's over. 2 more. Scourge's patterns are, at this point, a complete known to me. I know every attack he can do, and how to dodge everything he can throw at me. It's just a matter of patience, focus, and precision. And I have them all. And then there was one. I've done it. I've killed everything. Everything except for him. And yet, something doesn't feel right. There's something that's supposed to happen. I can feel it, like a word on the tip of your tongue. There's more to this. More to everything. I want to know it all. I need to know it all. But how do you see everything that ever was? How do you see all? No. No, it couldn't be.
I can see. I can see everything. I can. Nothing. Cold and wet, but it burns, sucking the life out of everything. It came from the stars. It lives in the well. It grew down there, poisoning everything, changing everything into something like the world it came from. And when it knows, we all know it's coming, but we can't get away. It's got everything that lives. They all drink the water, got strong on them, fed itself on them. It came from the stars, where things aren't like they are here. It has no name, but it burns. It sucks and it burns. Who are you, Lemon? So yeah, turns out if you replace the butter in the recipe with ghee, it's actually much friendlier to anyone who has... Wait, why do I hear boss music?
You! I'm here! For you! Oh no, I'm not done. Again! Again!
You still haven't figured it out yet, have you?
No. Please, help me. I'm so close. I want to see.
This world is on a diagonal, and we are the balancing point. You are me, and I am you.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you've made it this far into the video, I just wanted you to know that your support means the world to me. This run was by far one of the more challenging runs I've ever done, and despite the many jokes about it, I really did start to feel like I could see the ones and zeros behind the game. And absolutely none of it would have been possible without the desalinated mod made by Zephyr Greene. Essentially, the madman rebuilt the entire game, then changed all the code into JSON, which in layman's terms means that the entire mod is based around easy to read, easy to edit text pages. All you need to do is dive into the part of the game you want to change and edit it. What you saw today was just a taste of what that mod can actually do. This mod literally includes a map editor. A map editor. Do you realize what that means? It means we can finally make the Coastrock DLC we've all been clamoring for. We can edit all the dialogue, make our own unique creeds, make unique items, weapons, armors. Want to make a cool set piece of a swarm of zombies attacking a sanctuary? Have at it. Want to write your own stories and introduce new NPCs with entirely new questlines? Sure, go ahead. Want to make your favorite weapon constantly regenerate 25 HP a second? Rock on, my dude. You can change enemy drops, give redgrass anecdotal properties, make weapon scaling actually make sense, change item textures, hell, change the frame rate. Rebuild the entire damn skill tree to look like Skyrim, where each node gives you a passive buff of some sort, like, I don't know, 25% faster moving speed. All of it. All of it is possible now. And once you've made your little mod, your little slice of life, you can share it in a simple folder, easily dragged and dropped into anyone's game. They can even keep their old characters if they want to. That's how integrated and easy this damn thing is. There's no mod loader, no third-party resource you need, nothing. Needless to say, I'm excited as fuck about this mod. It means that Sodden Sanctuary will never run out of content for me to mess around with. What's more, Zephyr is still adding stuff to it, knocking out bugs and adding new features as he goes. Man's a legend. If you want to give his mod a try, you can find it on Nexus Mods here, and if you want to show the man some support for this amazing creation of his, you can support him on Patreon here. If you have any questions about his mod, either how it works or more specific, how do I do X questions, he's asked that any questions you have be sent to Nexus Mods, that way anyone who has a similar problem might be able to find answers more easily. Oh, and as added incentive to test out his mod for yourselves, I just want to point something out. You guys realize that this means you can all send me customized challenges now, right? Not saying, just saying. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and tell YouTube by giving it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and as always, if you have any ideas or challenge runs you'd like to see in the future, go ahead and leave that in the comments down below. A quick shout out to my patrons, Lord Ham, Drum Smasher, and Wilhelm. Your support does not go unrecognized, and I can't thank you enough. March's raffle will be announced soon, so look forward to that. Judging by the Discord's almost unanimous vote, it looks like the next video I'll be putting out will be the Sodden Sanctuary lore video. That should be a nice change of pace. Until then, though, that's all I've got. Stay safe, remember to eat potatoes in limited quantities, and have a great day.